They buried the evidence. We dig it up. In 2016, something impossible appeared on Google Earth. A perfect pyramid. 4 symmetrical faces, sharp edges, a pointed apex, rising from the most forbidden landscape on Earth, Antarctica, at coordinates 79 degrees, 58 minutes south, 81 degrees, 57 minutes west. Satellite imagery revealed what shouldn't exist. A structure so geometrically perfect that millions refuse to believe nature could create it. But here's what they don't want you to know. This pyramid has been documented since 1935, hidden in classified expedition reports, studied by teams who signed confidentiality agreements, investigated by geologists who were told to explain it away. This is the Artifacts Detective, and today we're exposing the truth about Antarctica's Pyramid Mountains. Welcome back to the Artifacts Detective. I'm your host, and today we're investigating one of the most controversial discoveries of our time: pyramid-shaped mountains in Antarctica that have sparked theories about ancient civilizations, government cover-ups, and forbidden history. What you're about to see challenges the official narrative, because when a mountain looks this perfect, when the geometry is this precise, when the location is this remote, you have to ask, what are they not telling us? Today's investigation will answer 3 critical questions. Why did it take 81 years for the public to learn about these pyramids? What evidence exists that these formations are natural versus artificial? Why are some scientists afraid to discuss what they've really found? But first, let me show you something that will make you question everything you thought you knew about Antarctica. Look at this. 4 triangular faces converging to a perfect point, rising 4,150 feet from the ice. If I showed you this image without context, told you it was from Egypt or Mexico, you'd never question it was man-made. But this is Antarctica, the most isolated, restricted, and mysterious continent on Earth. A place where international treaties limit access, where military personnel guard research stations, where vast areas remain completely unexplored. The official story says American aviator Lincoln Ellsworth discovered these mountains on November 23, 1935. But here's what they don't emphasize. Ellsworth was on a military-funded expedition. His findings were immediately classified. The first public mention, buried in obscure geological papers that no one outside academia would ever read. For decades, only a select few knew about Antarctica's pyramids. University of Minnesota expeditions from 1961 to 1964 required special permits. The 1979 to 1980 survey involved 42 geologists, but their findings were published in technical journals with limited distribution. Why the secrecy? What were they protecting? To understand the controversy, we need to examine what else they found in these mountains. Because the pyramid isn't the only discovery that challenges our understanding of Antarctica's past. Deep in the Ellsworth Mountains, researchers uncovered something extraordinary. Over 150 fossil species, trilobites from the Cambrian period, marine creatures that lived 541 million years ago, evidence that Antarctica was once a warm, tropical paradise. Think about that. The most frozen, lifeless place on Earth was once teeming with life. Warm seas, where now there's only ice. Lush vegetation, where nothing grows. An entire continent that's been completely transformed. If Antarctica could hide such a dramatic past, what else might be buried beneath the ice? The ice sheet covering Antarctica averages 1.9 kilometers thick. In some places, it's over 4 kilometers deep. That's nearly 3 miles of ice, concealing 98% of the continent's surface. We know more about the surface of Mars than what lies beneath Antarctica's ice. And rising from this frozen tomb, like monuments from a lost world, are the pyramids. But wait, here's where it gets really interesting. It's not just one pyramid. The Ellsworth Mountains contain dozens of pyramid-shaped peaks, some with 3 faces, some with 4, some perfectly symmetrical. Others, slightly skewed. If these were natural formations, this is exactly what we'd expect, variation. But if they were constructed, why build dozens of pyramids with varying quality? Unless they weren't all built at the same time, or by the same civilization. Let me show you something that will blow your mind. The coordinates of Antarctica's main pyramid: 79 degrees 58 minutes, 39.25 seconds south, 81 degrees 57 minutes, 32.21 seconds west, when compared to the Great Pyramid of Giza at 29 degrees 58 minutes, 47 seconds north. 31 degrees 8 minutes 2 seconds east show an almost perfect diagonal shift across the globe. Coincidence? Or evidence of a global pyramid-building civilization? Before you answer, consider this. The rocks that form these pyramids are old, really old. We're talking 540 to 250 million years old. That's before dinosaurs, before complex life on land, before anything resembling civilization could have existed. Or so we're told. Because here's what doesn't add up. If these formations are purely natural, why the perfect geometry? Why the precise angles? Why do they look exactly like pyramids built by human hands? I've obtained geological reports from the US Geological Survey. Most are publicly available. But notice the gaps, the redacted sections, the missing data. Why would geological surveys need classification? Unless they found something they couldn't explain. Dr. Eric Rignot from UC Irvine, who also works for NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, made a very specific statement. This is just a mountain that looks like a pyramid. Pyramid shapes are not impossible. Many peaks partially look like pyramids, but they only have 1 to 2 faces like that, rarely 4. But not impossible. So we have a rarely occurring, nearly impossible natural formation in the most restricted continent on Earth that happens to look exactly like a pyramid. Are you starting to see why people question the official story? Let's talk about access. You can't just go to Antarctica. Every expedition requires permits from multiple governments. Certain areas are completely off limits. Military vessels patrol the waters. Satellites monitor all activity. They say it's for environmental protection, but if these are just natural mountains, why the extreme security? Now, the skeptics will point to other pyramidal peaks. The Matterhorn in Switzerland, Mount Assiniboine in Canada. They'll tell you these prove pyramid shapes occur naturally. And they're right. Sort of. The official explanation goes like this. Multiple glaciers converge on a mountain. They carve bowl-shaped depressions called cirques. The walls retreat. Sharp ridges form. Eventually, you get a pyramid. It's called a pyramidal peak or glacial horn. The process takes millions of years. Glacial plucking removes chunks of rock. Abrasion polishes the faces. Freeze-thaw cycles break apart the stone. In Antarctica, they say, this process is supercharged. The extreme cold preserves sharp edges. Minimal precipitation means less erosion. No vegetation to break down the rock. Perfect conditions for creating and maintaining pyramid shapes. But here's what they're not telling you. Dr. Maury Pelto discovered something crucial. The Antarctic pyramid is made of uniform quartzite throughout. No layers, no variation, just solid, uniform rock. This is important because uniform rock erodes evenly. It's the perfect material for creating symmetrical shapes, almost like it was chosen specifically for this purpose. But wait, if glacial erosion creates pyramids naturally, why are they so rare? Thousands of mountains experience glaciation, yet perfect four-sided pyramids. You can count them on one hand globally. The Matterhorn, damaged and eroding. Mount Assiniboine, clearly asymmetrical up close. Alpamayo in Peru, beautiful but irregular. Only in Antarctica do we find this level of perfection. Preserved, pristine, defying millions of years of erosion. Dr. Mitch Darcy from the German Research Center for Geosciences stated, "The pyramid-shaped structures are located in the Ellsworth Mountains, which is a range more than 400 kilometers long. So it's no surprise there are rocky peaks cropping out above the ice." No surprise? A perfect pyramid is no surprise. Notice how quickly they dismiss it, how eager they are to explain it away, almost like they're following a script. 1935, discovery by military-funded expedition. 1961 to 1964, limited university access. 1979 to 1980, comprehensive survey by 42 geologists. 2007, USGS publishes report, limited distribution. 2016, Google Earth makes images public, goes viral. 81 years. That's how long they kept this from public view. And when it finally leaked through Google Earth, immediate damage control. Fact-checkers mobilized, explanations rushed out. Nothing to see here, folks, just a natural mountain. Every institution fell in line. British Antarctic Survey, Natural Formation, US Antarctic Program, Standard Glacial Horn, Science Feedback, claims definitively false. Unanimous agreement, no dissent, no debate. In science, that's unusual, unless everyone's been told what to say. But here's the smoking gun they can't explain away. Remember those fossils, the trilobites and marine creatures? They prove Antarctica was once positioned differently, part of the supercontinent Gondwana, located in warmer latitudes. The continent moved, drifted thousands of miles over millions of years, from tropical paradise to frozen wasteland. If continents can move, if climates can change that dramatically, if entire worlds can be buried under ice, what else is possible? Beneath Antarctica's ice lies an entire continent we've never seen. Mountain ranges higher than the Alps, valleys deeper than the Grand Canyon, lakes of liquid water that have been sealed for millions of years, and we're supposed to believe we understand everything about this place. Here's something else they don't advertise. Antarctica has multiple peaks officially named Pyramid. The British Antarctic Expedition of 1910 to 1913 named one near Koettlitz Glacier. The Swedish expedition of 1901 to 1904 named another near Hope Bay. These explorers weren't conspiracy theorists, they were scientists. And they all saw the same thing, mountains that look exactly like pyramids. The technical term is nunatak, a peak that protrudes through the ice sheet. They want you to focus on that word, to think of it as just another geological term. But nunatak comes from Inuit language. It means lonely peak, lonely peaks, rising from the ice, shaped like pyramids, in the most mysterious place on Earth. So what's the truth? Let me lay out all the evidence. Fact: perfect pyramid-shaped mountains exist in Antarctica. Fact: they've been known since 1935 but kept from public knowledge. Fact: the continent hides a dramatically different past. Fact: 98% remains buried under ice and unexplored. Fact: access is restricted by international treaty. Fact: all official sources provide identical explanations. Theory: natural glacial erosion over millions of years. Theory: uniform rock composition explains symmetry. Theory: extreme cold preserves sharp edges. Theory: multiple examples exist globally. The evidence for natural formation is compelling. Glacial processes do create pyramidal peaks. The geology does support millions of years of erosion. Other mountains do show similar shapes. But the perfection is unprecedented. The location is suspect. The secrecy is undeniable. The timing is questionable. And Antarctica keeps revealing impossible things. Lakes of liquid water beneath the ice. magnetic anomalies that defy explanation, unusual seismic activity, areas where compasses go haywire. In this context, perfect pyramids almost seem normal. So what are we really looking at? Natural formations of impossible perfection? Ancient monuments buried by ice? Evidence of something we're not supposed to know? The official story says nature carved these pyramids through patient erosion over millions of years, that 4 glaciers converged with perfect symmetry on uniform rock, creating geometry that fools the modern eye. Maybe they're right. Maybe it's all just coincidence. Maybe the secrecy, the restrictions, the perfect coordinates, the forbidden access. Maybe it all means nothing. Or maybe, just maybe, Antarctica's pyramids are exactly what they look like. And someone, somewhere, doesn't want you to know the truth. The evidence is there, hidden in plain sight for 81 years, dismissed by officials, explained away by experts, but preserved in ice, waiting for those brave enough to question the narrative. Natural or artificial, ancient or geological. The debate continues. But one thing is certain. Antarctica's pyramids exist. They're real, they're perfect, and they're not going anywhere. The question is, what are you going to do with this information? This investigation raises more questions than answers, and that's exactly what they don't want. Questions lead to research. Research leads to truth. And truth, that's what we dig up here at the Artifacts Detective. What's your analysis of the evidence? Are these natural formations or something more? Have you found other anomalies in Antarctica that need investigation? Share your findings in the comments below. For more investigations into forbidden history and suppressed discoveries, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. They can hide the evidence, but they can't hide it from all of us. Uncover more ancient mysteries. Follow the Artifacts Detective and join the investigation. Because remember, they buried the evidence. We dig it up.